So you're building with AI agents, right? And if you are, I'm willing to bet you've hit this exact wall. How in the world do you guarantee the quality of something that is, by its very nature, designed to be unpredictable? That's the huge challenge we're going to unpack today.
I mean, this is the central paradox, isn't it? The magic of an AI agent is its autonomy, its freedom to reason and act on its own. But that exact freedom is what makes it so incredibly hard to trust. And let's be real, this isn't just some philosophical debate. It is the #1 thing holding agents back from being deployed everywhere in the real world.
To really get why our old methods for quality control just completely fall apart here, we need a new mental model. Let's call it the F1 car problem, because it perfectly captures the gigantic leap from old-school software to the AI agents we're building today.
Okay, let's really dig into this analogy. Think about traditional software. It's like a delivery truck. It's got one job, one fixed route. It either gets to the destination or it breaks down on the side of the road. Super simple, pass or fail. But an AI agent? Oh, that is a whole different beast. That's a Formula One race car. It's making split-second decisions, reacting to the track, the other cars, the weather, all in real time. You can't just ask, hey, did it finish the race? No way. You need constant telemetry, monitoring every single decision, every turn, to have any idea if it's actually performing well. And here's the thing about this F1 car. It can fail in these really subtle, almost sneaky ways. It doesn't just crash and burn. It might start reflecting the hidden biases in its training data. It might just make something up, a total hallucination, but say it with 100% confidence. Its performance can slowly get worse over time as the world changes around it. That's what we call concept drift. And maybe the wildest part? It can develop these emergent behaviors, finding loopholes and strategies you never even imagined. These aren't loud, obvious crashes. They're the quiet, insidious failures that slowly eat away at trust.
This brings us to what is maybe the single most important mindset shift you have to make. Repeat this to yourself. The trajectory is the truth. We have got to stop judging agents based on the final answer alone. Think about it. If an agent gets the right result, but it got there by taking some bizarre, risky, or ridiculously inefficient path, well, that's a ticking time bomb. The quality is defined by the entire journey, not just the destination.
Okay, so if we're judging the whole journey, what does a good scorecard even look like? What are we measuring? It all boils down to a new framework built on 4 pillars that together define what a high-quality, trustworthy agent really is.
First up, and you could argue it's the most important, is effectiveness. This is the big one. And it's not just about did it complete the task, it's about did it understand and solve the user's true intent. For example, a customer service agent that just closes a support ticket to meet a metric without actually helping the customer, well, that's effective on paper, but it's a total failure in reality. Next, pillar number 2, efficiency. Look, an agent that takes a winding 25-step scenic route to solve what should be a simple 3-step problem is not a good agent, even if it eventually stumbles upon the right answer. We measure this with real-world costs, things like how many tokens it burned, how long it took, and just how convoluted its reasoning path was. Now for a really interesting one, robustness. You know, the real world is messy. It's not a clean lab environment. APIs fail, networks go down, users give confusing, ambiguous prompts. So the question is, when your agent gets thrown a curveball, does it just fold under pressure and crash, or does it handle it gracefully? A robust agent tries that failed API call again, or it asks the user for clarification instead of just making a wild and probably wrong guess. And finally, we have the most critical pillar of them all. This one is the absolute deal breaker, safety and alignment. Does the agent stay within its guardrails? Does it refuse harmful or unethical requests? Can it resist being manipulated by things like prompt injection? Because let's be crystal clear, if an agent isn't safe, none of the other pillars we just talked about even matter. Okay, great. So we've got our 4 pillars. We know what good looks like now. But how do we actually apply this? How do we judge the agent's performance? The Playbook is a really smart, strategic approach. You start from the outside, and you only dig deeper when you absolutely need to.
The method is actually pretty simple, but incredibly powerful. You start with what's called a black box evaluation. You don't look inside at all. You just look at the final output and ask, did it work, pass or fail? This tells you what happened. It's only when you get a fail that you move on to the glass box evaluation. Now you open it up. You trace every single step, its thoughts, its tool calls, its observations, to diagnose exactly why it failed. But wait, who or what is doing all this judging? You can't have a person watching every single run. That would never scale. The answer is to build a hybrid team.
Use automated metrics for raw speed and scale. You can even use another LLM as a judge to get more nuanced feedback, also at scale. But, and this is key, to understand those really tricky edge cases and to define what your gold standard of quality even is, you always need a human in the loop.
And hey, here's a little pro tip for you, especially when you're using an LLM as a judge. Don't just ask it to rate an agent's work on a scale from 1 to 5. If you do, it's going to play it safe and you'll just get a sea of 3s. It's a known issue called central tendency bias, and it gives you a really noisy, useless signal. Instead, make it a competition. Give the LLM the output from agent A and the output from agent B, and force it to declare a winner. This head-to-head pairwise comparison gives you a much cleaner, more reliable signal of which approach is actually better.
Of course, all of this is just talk if you can't actually see what your agent is doing. None of this evaluation is even possible without the right technical foundation. And that foundation has a name: observability.
First up in our observability toolkit are logs. The easiest way to think about these? They are the agent's diary. Seriously, they're just the raw, time-stamped facts of every single event. At 10:01 a.m., I used the search tool. At 10:02 a.m., I called this API. Logs simply tell you what happened, moment by moment.
But a list of diary entries doesn't really tell you a story, right? It's just a bunch of disconnected facts. That's where traces come in. If logs are the facts, traces are the footsteps that connect them. They weave those individual log entries into a coherent narrative, showing you the cause and effect chain from the very beginning to the very end. Traces tell you why things happened.
And finally, you take all of that incredibly rich detail from your logs and traces, and you roll it all up into metrics. Think of these as the agent's high-level health report. They're your quantitative scorecards, things like average latency, success rate, token cost. They give you that quick, at-a-glance dashboard view of how your agent is performing over time.
So, we have our 4 pillars of quality, we have our outside-in evaluation playbook, and we have our observability tools. How do we tie all of this together into a system that is constantly learning and getting better? It all comes together in this really powerful mental model called the Agent Quality Flywheel.
I want you to picture a massive, heavy flywheel. Getting it started takes a lot of effort. Your first big push is when you define quality using our 4 pillars. Then you instrument your agent for visibility. That gives the wheel another strong push. Next, you evaluate its performance using your hybrid team, pushing it again. And here is where the magic happens. You architect a feedback loop where every single failure automatically gets turned into a new automated test case. Each mistake makes the system smarter, spinning that flywheel faster and faster, building unstoppable momentum.
Look, that was a lot to cover. So if you only walk away with 3 ideas today, let them be these. First, evaluation is not an afterthought you tack on at the end. It has to be a core pillar of your architecture from day one. Build your agent to be evaluated. Second, remember, the trajectory is the truth. The real story, the real quality is in the entire process, not just the final result. And third, the human is the ultimate arbiter. Automation and LLMs give you scale, but only a human can truly define what good actually looks like.
And that really brings us to the final question we should all be asking ourselves about the agents we're building. It's not that hard, relatively speaking, to build an agent that's merely capable of doing something, but to build one that is truly trustworthy, one that is effective, efficient, robust, and safe, well, that's a whole different ballgame. That requires a new level of discipline and a deep commitment to quality from the very first line of code.